This video is brought to you by StoneAgeGamer.com. It's where I go for my gaming accessories, systems, and more. So be sure to check out StoneAgeGamer.com, link in description. Hey guys, how's it going? This is John with Gamester81.com. In this episode, I'll be reviewing the brand new PowerBase Mini adapter for the Sega Genesis. This is exclusively available at StoneAgeGamer.com. Retails for around $36 US. I'll put a link below so you guys can check it out. Stone Age Gamer is a really cool site. They also have these really cool shirts. Here's one. This is WisdomTree. So they have a lot of WisdomTree shirts. This particular one is from, it's a remake of one they give away at conventions. And it's called Power Up Moses. Cool looking shirt, high quality. So anyway, really cool site. And what this basically enables us to do is to play Sega Master System games on the Sega Genesis. Not just the Model 1 like the PowerBase converter, which I have here in front of me, which I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. I personally think the Sega Master System is one of the most underrated systems out there. It's graphically superior than the Nintendo Entertainment System. I'm not saying it's better than the NES. Don't twist my words. I'm not saying that. I love the NES, of course, and the NES has a lot better library of games. But graphically, color-wise, sound, everything else, it has a lot more power than the NES. And it's got some gems on it, hidden gems. Here's one particular I really like that I really recommend you guys check out. It's Golden Axe Warrior. If you like the original Legend of Zelda, check this out. It's more or less a Legend of Zelda clone, but it's pretty fun. Definitely check it out. But what you can do is you basically put the cart on top like so. And what's cool with this is this will work with most Sega Genesis systems. And I say most because there are a few Sega Genesis systems that this does not currently work with. But here to my left is the PowerBase converter, the first one that came out. This came out in 1989, but it's an official Sega product. And this basically enabled the Sega Genesis Model 1 to play Sega Master Systems. Now, what I like about this particular one is actually there were cards that came out, almost like TurboGrafx 16 cards that you could play. And this actually uses those. So you can actually slide it in like so, and you can play those cards. This has no card slot, so you cannot play those cards on this cartridge, okay? So understand that. But what's a downfall about this PowerBase converter, the first one is it's not compatible with the Model 2 Genesis, the Model 3 Genesis, the Nomad, and mainly because of the shape and design. There's this flap here, and this will not fit on it. This will work on the Retron 5, actually, which is really cool. So if you have a Retron 5, you can actually play Sega Master System games using this. You can also play Sega Master System games using this as well, because this will also work with the Retron 5. So what are the benefits of having a PowerBase Mini converter, or maybe the Model 1 if you have a Genesis Model 1? Well, you can open up your library. You can play some really, really good games. If you can also purchase the Master EverDrive, which I got a while ago. I did a review on this years ago. This is also available only at StoneAgeGamer.com. And what this is a flash cart, which we can put on, ROMs on this SD card, and you can basically play every Sega Master System game on here. And it will work through the PowerBase Mini converter. However, I do want to say, as of now, the Retron 5 will not read any flash cards. So I tried it does not work. But the cool thing about the Retron 5 is they're coming up with updates, and eventually I'm sure they're going to be able to play flash cards and also homebrew games, because it will not be able to play homebrew games, which is a huge letdown for me personally. But overall, it's a really cool cart. Let me show you some compatibilities. After that, I'm going to show you the menu and how it works and how it looks as well, and show you some gameplay of some classic Sega Master System games. So now that I've talked about the PowerBase Mini adapter and what it's supposed to do and what it does, I'm going to talk about the compatibility. And first I'm going to show you systems that the adapter will work with, and then I'm going to show you some systems that the adapter doesn't read on these particular systems. Some of these are clones, but some of these are actually official Sega model systems, okay? So there are a few systems that I was unable to test that I do actually own. I'm just lending them out to family and friends. So for example, the Retron 3, I'm lending out to a friend that does play Sega Genesis games. I'm unable to see if this will work on that because it's at my buddy's place and I don't have that to test. Another system I own that I lend out to my brother who lives in another state is the Retro Duo Portable, which is a portable handheld system that does play Sega Genesis games through an adapter. And again, I'm not sure if that will work on it. There's also an adapter cartridge I reviewed a little while back that you can play Genesis games on the Super Nintendo, and I'm also lending that to my brother as well. So I'm unable to see if this will work with that adapter, so you can play this on the Super Nintendo if you want. That'd be cool. I don't know. So I might do a follow-up when I get those back. I'll let you know. Post on my Facebook or Twitter or whatever. I'll let you guys know. Okay, once I test those. But let me go over some systems that I do have currently in my possession that I know for a fact will work or won't work. We'll start with the ones, as I mentioned before, that will work. The first one that it will work with is the Sega Genesis Model 1. So if you have a Model 1, the PowerBase Mini adapter will work for it. The next one is Sega Genesis Model 2. If you have a Model 2, the PowerBase Mini adapter will work for this also. One of my favorite Sega Genesis systems out there, this is the CDX. This will play Sega CD games and Sega Genesis games, an official Sega system. The adapter will actually work for this as well. So if you have one of these, no problem at all. It does work just fine. Another system that will enable you to play both Genesis games and Sega CD games all in one, this is the JVC XI. It will work for this as well. No problems. Really cool system. I prefer this CDX because of the size, but this is a really cool system. Third party, no problems at all. And of course, the Retron 5, I talked about it before early in the video. The PowerBase Mini adapter will work for it. However, it will not read the flash card that adapts to it as well. So that's a big letdown for me. That's nothing to do with this particular card. It's to do with the system itself. And hopefully Hyperkin will patch that. That won't be an issue in the future. But as of now, as of doing this video, the PowerBase Mini adapter will not work for the Retron 5's flash card, but it will work for playing normal Sega Master System games. And guys, this is by far my favorite Sega Genesis model system. This is the Laser Active by Pioneer, and this plays basically Laserdiscs, but there's also packs you can purchase separately. You can buy a TurboGrafx 16 pack. You can also buy a Genesis pack, and that will enable you to play Sega CD games and Sega Genesis games. And this will work, actually. The only thing is you have to put the carts face down, but no problems. It will work. It will read the flash cart as well. Really cool, because this is by far my favorite model of Sega Genesis. Now on to systems that are not currently compatible with a PowerBase Mini adapter. Okay, we have the Nomad. Unfortunately, I could not get my Nomad to read the PowerBase Mini adapter. However, if you go into StoneAgeGamer.com, there are instructions how you can mod the adapter so it will work with the Nomad, but out of the box, this adapter does not work. So you cannot play games on the go through your Nomad, which is unfortunate for now. Speaking of handhelds, we have this Allgengamers Sega Genesis handheld. This came out a little while ago. It plays Sega Genesis cards. There's some built-in games in here as well. Really tiny screen. This will not read it as well. It's a clone system. It will not read it. It's just a black screen. It won't even power on with the adapter in it, which is kind of weird. Also by Allgengamers. This is a new system that I got at Walgreens of all places. This has built-in games, same ones I believe that the handheld I just showed you have, and it plays Genesis carts, but it doesn't read. Same thing with the handheld version. It does not read the PowerBase Mini adapter, unfortunately. And lastly, the Sega Genesis Model 3, it will not read the PowerBase Mini adapter as well, similar to the Nomad. You can actually mod this to work with the Model 3, but again, out of the box, this will not work with this Sega Genesis Model 3. Now that I've showed you what's compatible and what's not compatible with the PowerBase Mini adapter, I'm going to show you some gameplay of some great Sega Master System games that I like personally. And one thing I really love about this adapter, it's super easy. You just plug it in, ready to play, very little instructions, which is great. So, and while I'm doing this, guys, I'd really be curious if you guys leave a comment below. What are some Sega Master System games you guys really enjoy? What are some of your personal favorites? Please let us know below, and let's take a closer look at some gameplay. The first game I'm going to show you is Mortal Kombat. It did come out for the Sega Master System. And for those who aren't familiar with the Sega Master System, if you're familiar with the Game Gear, then you are familiar with the Sega Master System, because basically this Game Gear is built upon the same or similar software to the Sega Master System. And there is an adapter actually on the Game Gear where you can also play Sega Master System games. So yeah, this game is kind of laggy, and there's no blood, but there's a blood code you can put in as a cheat to add blood. Here is Golden Axe Warrior, which I was talking about earlier in the video. Clearly a Legend of Zelda clone, and completely different than other Golden Axe games that we're familiar with. Most Golden Axe games are beat-em-ups. First one started in the arcade, of course, and was ported over to the Sega Master System Genesis, among other platforms. But good game, interesting game, and it's pretty rare and uncommon. Here is Phantasy Star. This is the one that started it all. This game came out in 1987. And look at there. There's a clone trooper or a stormtrooper. Who would have thought that they're in Phantasy Star? That's not really a stormtrooper, but it certainly looks like one. Great RPG. And what I really like about Phantasy Star, obviously other than the story and graphics and all that, music, the gameplay, the battle mode, as you can see here, is more of a first-person kind of battle. A lot different than what you see in Final Fantasy, where you see the characters and you see the enemies on the right-hand side of the screen. You see the enemies right in front of you, first person. Here is Moonwalker. This game came out in the arcades initially. It's a beat 'em up in the arcades, really fun in the arcades, kind of an isometric top-down view. This is more like the Sega Genesis version of the game, and the goal is to save kids, and it follows the Moonwalker movie. But love the soundtrack, definitely. Okay, guys, so overall, what do I think about the PowerBase Mini adapter? I think it's a pretty good investment if you don't own a Sega Master System already. But there are benefits of owning this over the Sega Master System itself. A couple reasons is because the controller. One thing I didn't touch base on was the controller for the Sega Master System is terrible. The D-pad is not very good, and Sega for some reason put the start button as an action button as well, which is really confusing. So there is a pause button here on the cart. I don't know how well you can see that, but there is this pause button on the cart. So one benefit of owning this is you can use the Sega Genesis controller, although you can technically use the Sega Genesis controller on a Sega Master System as well, technically, if you wanted to. So not a huge deal, but pretty convenient. And the fact that it works with most Genesis consoles, I wish it worked with the Nomad without modding this, but it is what it is. And overall, for 36 bucks, not a bad investment. If you guys want to stay in touch, guys, I encourage you guys to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as well as my website, Gamester81.com. I'll put all links below to everything down there, as well as where you can pick this up if you're interested. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. Happy gaming.